There you go.
All right, everyone. We're getting things set up, and we're a couple minutes late today, but happy to be here today because Kurt Anderson's going to join me. He's off camera right now, but he's getting on just shortly. I am so excited because we're here from the Alaska MEP today. We've had an awesome week out visiting Alaska manufacturers, talking to so many great entrepreneurs that are just out there creating their dreams and building their businesses. So let's get started here because we've got Kasim Karani here with us from the Alaska MEP, the Associate Director of the MEP in Alaska. How you doing today, Kasim?
Well, we're doing good. We're figuring it out as we go today. So
yeah.
It's been a bit of a morning. I had the joy of, family life. Children decided to throw a curveball at me because I had a button up on this morning and walking out the door, my little one decides needed a hug and coffee everywhere. So we're running late and getting it sorted.
Yeah. But it's awesome because Kurt, I'm gonna put you back in the camera, dude. We're gonna get you back in the screen at least. There we go.
There's a shiny head right there. Yeah. So all right. Hey, happy Friday. How's everybody doing today? Damon, why don't you tell everybody what's been going on this week, man?
Man, it's just been something, Kurt. I was just trying to think of this because how many manufacturers did we talk to this week? It's a lot.
Yeah.
And how many places have we been? We were in Kenai, we were here in Anchorage, we were in Palmer, we were all around here.
Right.
And just driving around. We've talked about this many times.
Right.
There is so much manufacturing going on in Alaska, and people think, oh, it's fish processing or something like that. But we talked yesterday or the day before, I don't know, you and I were talking about how much mining is going on, how much other natural resources, and then just cool stuff that people are building. Because we were in a place this week where they make Nordic ice skates, which I didn't even know existed, but really cool machining place, and he's setting it up super high tech and just so much stuff going on.
Yeah, just food, all the food products that we're dealing with, and that's of course that's your wheelhouse.
Yeah, that's where I come from, is the restaurant industry previously. Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's dig right into food. So we had a couple folks yesterday that were food manufacturers at the program, and from your perspective, long time, 20-year career, really probably grew up in it, since you were 5 years old, but long time food career. Talk about your perspective of food manufacturing here in Alaska.
Well, first thing is I think it's fantastic that they're up here because the cost of a finalized good, the number one issue Alaska has in general is the shipping cost. Mm-hmm. And when you ship a finalized good, at the end of the day, you're shipping water, which is just heavy. Mm-hmm. So having all of the manufacturers up here that we have plenty of water as a natural resource available here, but then to be able to bring and then create here so that really Alaskans have not only a sustainable food source, but a affordable food source. So we're getting information on somebody coming in. So see now I'm seeing the WSU hat over here, and that's where I went to school. So he's supporting my alma mater, and I'm happy now.
Yeah. We're getting the computer set up and doing some other things today, but Kurt, you're going to send the link to our other guests. They're going to join from their location and get things ready to go. And we've also got here, just walked in the room, Dr. Alyssa, the director of the Alaska. We're moving around, we're getting things set up, and everybody, thank you much for being here today. I don't talk to other people comments, but Dr. Alyssa, tell us a little bit about the Alaska MEP and just why you're excited about manufacturing in Alaska.
So forgive me for hopping in the middle, but the Alaska MEP, this one's been around since July of 2019, and we exist to advance manufacturers. We help them grow their sales, we help them cut costs, become more efficient, help manage their supply chain if they're really having struggles, getting things in, out, etc. And I am excited about manufacturing, and I'll spare you the whole journey there, but I did not realize how much we manufactured here and the really fun variety of things that we manufacture. And so once I started to realize just how much we manufactured, and it's not just, it's not just stuff that people are making in their basements and garages. These are full blown, have existed for, years, maybe even decades, manufacturers that we have. manufacturing works in Alaska. It's not that people couldn't use some help. Kurt the other day said, you know, I have dreams so big, I could use some help. And I really like that. Cool. Even if they've been around for decades, you know, they've got goals so big, they could use some help.
Let's get Kurt in the
Hey, I'm with my girlfriend, Dr. Alyssa Rodriguez. Yes. So hey, Whitney Houston's here today. Whitney, good morning. Yes. I guess it's afternoon. No, she's in Central. She's in Houston, so it's almost afternoon.
My eyesight's bad, so I've got to look close to the computer. But we got Amos, we got Whitney, we got Joyty, and Val's here. Yep. Megan. Thanks so much for being here today.
So happy Friday, guys. So let's dig into that. Okay, so I love, you know, the thing I love about the MEPs is I call them dream supporters. You know, like every entrepreneur is basically pursuing a dream. It's daunting, it's challenging. Kasim, dude, how did you keep your hair for 20 years? Because look what happened to me as an entrepreneur. Right. Like, how'd you pull that off? Huh?
Well, fortunately, I had my dad with me, so I had a great support structure.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe it's just a blessing that
better genes or something, right?
I don't know.
But it is challenging going through that journey on your own and not having resources. Yep. You know, and you're down head in the grindstone and just grinding. But let's talk about dream supporters, right? I mean, so yesterday we had a wonderful little jam session. Thank you guys for inviting manufacturers from Alaska into Damon and I put on a little workshop, and just each and every single one of them talked about there was a problem for themselves. They couldn't find the product, couldn't find the solution. So what do?
So cool.
They invent their own product, and they're innovative, they're creative. It's just so inspiring, so just as helping people support those dreams. And look at some of the testimonials we got yesterday, right? How do you feel for a career being a dream supporter?
Oh man, it really is one of the best things. And that's, to not give you the whole journey, but that is how I found my way this direction. Started out as a research economist, love the data, still love the data. But we'd give a presentation or, write an article about it. And somebody would be like, oh, this is awesome. What do I do with this? Where do I go? This is what my economy looks like. How can I make it look like this? And that was outside our scope. We really can't speak to that. We're very objective. And I didn't want to be so objective anymore. I wanted to really be able to help and, to see what people wanted to do and where they wanted to go. I wanted to be able to help. And so, just kind of moved here and there until I got here. And it is absolutely the best to see what people are able to do and to know that, maybe you had some sort of small part in being able to help them get there. There's nothing better. Nothing better.
So we're out with a manufacturer of female undergarments yesterday, and so talk a little bit about Lynn and what's going on with Swoop, and what is she doing with her sales?
Yeah, it's really cool because Lynn had a challenge. She couldn't find comfortable bras at work, and she's a nurse, and she made one for herself, and the next thing you know, she's making them for friends. And then more people that she doesn't know is asking. And then she goes, well, maybe this could be a business. And now she's seeing her business doubling every year, and she's going to be a 7-figure business before long. And it's really fun to talk to her and see, and she's challenged the challenges with how do I find seamstresses to do this? How do I contemplate offshore manufacturing, inventory and logistics and all that stuff? It's really cool and watching her grow.
And
let's just say too that we found out yesterday too with Lynn that Kurt may be a little bit hiking challenge. So
he had to go there, huh? Come on, and bring it on.
But Lynn was gracious. Lynn was gracious. Yeah, she's a professional. Almost professional class.
So we're on a mountain yesterday. Now, mind you, I don't mountain. Hey, how about this, Damon? How about this comment here from Whitney Houston? I will always love you. Whitney, right back at you, my friend. You got me right here, right? We always love you too. So, but
your first week in her new job.
Whitney, so let's dig into the situation with Lynn. And so to cover on Damon, so we go on this big mountain hike yesterday, and we're climbing this mountain, and like Lynn, and be like her walking on the sidewalk or a parking lot. It's like walking the park. I'm like, man, I don't know. I have like sneakers on. I'm like sliding all over, and it's snowing up here June 1st in Alaska. So I'm like, guys, I don't know about this. So anyway, so Damon, next time we're gonna make it to the top.
Yes, we will. Next time we'll make it to the top. But that was
but we did a consulting session.
Yeah,
she's an outdoors
on the mountain.
Yeah,
like
on the
where else have you done that?
Incredible.
Have you done that anywhere else?
I've done that, and so near where I live, I don't have mountains like this, guys. If you could see the view that we see out here with all these mountains, it's man, we might have to show the camera out there. But
yeah.
So you know what? During COVID, I've started doing more out. You know, when there were in-person opportunities. So I have a business partner, Nicole, and she. Hey, here's our guest.
Kevin.
Sorry about the miscommunication, guys.
No worries. No worries.
Hey,
we're set
there
up.
he is. There he is. Okay, Kevin's in the house. Okay, so we were talking about Lynn. We're going to come back to that, but we'll segue into Kevin.
Yes.
Just kind of finish that point. What we were talking about with Lynn yesterday is a small, solopreneur who now has employees, getting off the runway, inventory management challenges, HR. She needs to hire Kasim. You're coming, this guy knows everybody here in Anchorage, so like he's connecting her with other subject matter experts. But it's just wonderful for you guys to come in and help, seeing what you guys have done, and the testimonials, like they're almost in tears of like how you've helped these manufacturers move the needle. So with that as our intro, we've got Kevin. Yes. Kevin, how are you, dude? Happy Friday to you, man.
Man, it is Friday. It is Friday. It's the end of the fires until Saturday.
Yeah, man, right. Man, we're right there, right? We're right there. So hey, we're dying to hear about Mountain Dog, and just let's go there right away. Well, first off, you know what? Before we go there, I want to give you a huge shout out. Thank you for serving our country proudly. You're a war hero, and just let's give a little background. Let the folks know about who is Kevin.
So, who is Kevin? A constant irritation to his wife.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So, no, I served in Iraq in 03 and 04. I was injured overseas. I wanted to stay in the military. The Army told me they don't play with their broken toys, and so they sent me home. So, I used my educational benefits to become a pilot. I became a helicopter pilot, and I flew multiple missions. One of the funnest missions I had was flying in a CH-54, which is a sky crane, flying fires. We were dumping fires. I flew in everywhere from Arizona all the way up into Alaska. Then left there and worked with a little-known government contracting company called Evergreen, and out of McMinnville, Oregon. Worked on some government contracting with them, and then ended up meeting my wife. And my wife was a teacher. She is my exact opposite. She is a goody two-shoes, straight A student, never gotten any trouble.
Wait, I'm sorry, Kevin. Were you describing you, or I got mixed up on that? Was that you or your
wife? No, that's
goody two shoes. I misunderstood that one.
So when we were engaged, people would pull her aside and say, "Do you know this man's following you?" So yeah, no. We have two beautiful kids now. So I continued to fly after we were married, and we were kind of seeing that we wanted to start a family. So we moved to Alaska because she was a teacher and I was a pilot, and so we moved up here. The helicopter industry was a little soft, and so I shift fire to get into fixed wing. And so I used some more GI Bill benefits and finished off my fixed wing training. And COVID kicked off. Literally, the COVID, the whole shutdowns and everything happened. I took my last multi-engine test in December, and January, everything started kicking off and getting weird. And so So I was kind of up a creek there. And so I went to a friend of mine and said, hey, will you loan me money so I can flip a house? And so he loaned me some money so I could flip a house. I went and bought a horrible crack house, and we almost completely tore everything down. I think there was only a couple, there's foundation left, and then we rebuilt it. And in the process of that, my wife had bought one of these freeze dryers. And so we played around with it a little bit, and then I contracted COVID. It started out with a buddy called me, and the first week I was feeling a little under the weather. He called me. He said, "How you feeling, Kevin?" And my mom's a nurse practitioner, and I said, I've had worse hangovers. So let's keep going. Then one evening, my wife looked at me and she's like, "You don't look right." And and being a pilot, you learn about things like hypoxia and what the body does when it's losing oxygen. And so I started checking what we call our capillary refill, and it just wasn't looking right. So I said, well, okay, I'll go down to the ER. And I went down to the ER. Within a couple hours, they had me on high flow oxygen. I spent a week on high flow oxygen. And I actually got cleared of the COVID, but due to the medical protocols they were giving me, they reduced my immune system, and I contracted an extremely aggressive bacterial pneumonia and developed PE, blood clot in my lung, which was very dangerous. So they pulled me in. They put me on a ventilator. They pulled my wife in and said, he's not going to make it. They said, we give him less than a 40% chance. And so if I was there, I would have said, well, she has seen my flip house. But yeah, so she's sitting there, and I have an amazing wife who just said, well, let's continue going and we'll see where it goes. Let's see what Kevin does. And so through a lot of prayer and faith and everything, we got through that. I apparently, and I don't remember this, but I apparently yanked my ventilator out, started screaming at nurses, and they rushed my wife back in to calm me down. And my wife is apparently, this is what we were told by the doctors, is the first spouse who was given 24 access to the hospital because it was better when she was there than when she was not. And so apparently I'm a horrible patient. I mean, which is, yeah. So, yeah. So then we got out of there. We went to the pulmonologist. The pulmonologist said, hey, you know what? You're probably never going to fly again. Yeah. And I don't know if you know very many pilots, but like, man, it gets in your blood and you want to fly. It's a passion. Yeah. And so we looked at it, and he said, and the doctor said, you probably never be off of oxygen again. You're going to need to go home and sit and relax and rest and see if you can recover. I don't sit. It's just not something I do. So to my wife's horror, she found out, she woke up to the sound of the treadmill turning on, and she ran downstairs and she says, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Well, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die on my feet. Like, let's do this." And so she made me a deal that I had to wear a pulse oximeter, and when my oxygen level dropped below 90, I had to get off and recover. Said deal. So the first day I could do it for 3 minutes. And then my goal every day was to get another minute. And so we had good weeks. We had bad weeks. It's not like it was a straight up trajectory. But we had setbacks. We had frustrations. But I'm obviously not on oxygen today. I got to the point where I'm walking a consecutive 17-minute mile. And my goal is 15 to 16, but, we're running a company. So, yeah. So, it started in our basement, moved to our garage, from our garage out to a shop, and from a shop out to our final location.
Wow. Well, man, how about that for a story? All right. We need to take a breath.
Yeah.
Man, who just feels like they're on a roller coaster right there. So, so spoiler alert, you survived COVID, right? Because you're here with us today. Yeah. So obviously, how about a round of applause? Thank you for serving our country. Thank you for being a war hero. And again, boy, what a tough and,
determined
COVID. Yeah, this is a story. This is a story of resiliency. So Kevin, you're kind of the accidental entrepreneur, if you will. I don't know, is that a good term? You're like, hey, let's start doing this dog treat thing. Like, let's take us there. Share, like, how did the company get started, and let's get that party rolling.
So I've got a German Shepherd, and my wife has a German Shepherd, and she likes her. So she's in this Facebook group with all these German Shepherd owners, and they're all feeding raw diets, and they're all doing this stuff. And I said, we should use our freeze dryer just to freeze dry their food, because it would reduce their refrigerant cost or their freezer cost. And so a couple of them bit. We started doing that on the side. And one of them, who sells some really high-end dogs, who's a friend, said, Kevin, you should turn this into a business. And he said, the one thing the industry doesn't have is a solid treat. Like, there's a lot of mom and pops out there. There's a lot of kind of smaller companies who will produce one-off kind of treats, but it's hard to get consistency. It's hard to get quantity. It's not an every person treat. Having a background in business as well as being a pilot, he said, Kevin, you should do that. So reached out to some friends of mine who are veterinarians. We talked. One of them's a former Army Ranger, and he runs a veterinarian hospital called Tier 1 here in the Valley. And we just started talking, and he said, Kevin, this is an amazing idea. He said it has to solve a problem. So we went through the areas of business. Business has to solve a problem. So what problem am I solving? Well, there is not a single ingredient salmon treat that is healthier than mine on the market right now. With the amount of proteins, omega fats, and using skin, bone, and everything, the way we process it down to a specific size so that it's palatable for every single dog. There's nobody who does what we do. So we solved the problem. We identified a need. We solved the problem. And now we've allowed a market to create itself. One of the things that within dog training and within some very serious dog circles, they'll tell you, do not feed treats. The reason they're telling you not to feed treats is because the amount of junk that is in a lot of these treats that's on the market.
Yep.
People don't want to just feed their dog one treat. The dog was happy, so they want to make it happy again, so they feed it another treat. So this dog following around, wagging its tail all day, getting shoved really bad things down its throat. Now, if it was a once in a while thing, it probably wouldn't matter. But because they're overfeeding treats, so what we did is we took a salmon paste and we shaped it and molded it into the shape of a fish. So the first, when we were kind of developing it, my wife came in and she's like, it'd be funny as if you made it like little goldfish. She goes, everybody considers their kid. She's like, I have goldfish in my center console. Make it into a fish shape. So do you have goldfish?
I think everybody had one time or the other. Yeah,
every nook and cranny in the car when you have little kids, right? Dr. Lissa knows.
That's awesome.
Exactly. Goldfish and Cheerios. Like, that's what my wife's calling it.
Exactly. Right.
So we looked at it, and I didn't want to run into any kind of issues with Nabisco and goldfish and all that. So we said, what's a little more Alaskan? So we're shaped like a salmon. And so we created Mountain Dog. We started to put it together. We did some proof of concept, some prototyping, sent it out to farmers markets. And as the information started coming back on what was selling, what wasn't, we started to refine our process. And then we came up with, and then I sat down and I kind of penciled out what I wanted for a logo. We had somebody put together the logo for us and some of the bags and stuff like that. And then we just kind of took off from there.
Okay. And so you hit on something I wanted to dig into. So guys, you want to check out, Kevin, your website, please?
AK Mountain Dog.
What's the name of your website?
akmountaindog.com.
AK Mountain Dog. And it is, and first off, you've got a great story, your background, and you know how you served and everything. So, you know, guys, I strongly encourage you. Perfect. How about, can you drop that link?
Yeah,
drop the link in the chat. So we're going to drop your website in the chat box for you. And so definitely check out Kevin's website. You want to check out the branding.
Yeah.
Dig in. You have like super cool branding. You know, like, you know, you're this Army veteran guy. You're flying helicopters all over. Like, talk a little bit about like, how did you get into the whole look and feel? I think it looks fantastic. Everybody that we've shown just absolutely loves your website. You know, get into, you know, so for a manufacturer out there is like, hey man, I'm really enjoying this story. I want to kind of get this going. Like, go take us there and like how you get the branding going from that perspective.
So branding is, so I have a dad who's an artist and a former Army Ranger. And so I always grew up being able to see the difference between good art and bad art. Right. Branding should tell who you are without it being too in your face. And so Mountain Dog was born out of the term Mountain Dog was born out of the two things that I love is running through the mountains with my wife and my kids, and we love our dog. And it kind of came together. The branding portion, you know, if you can't do it, hire it done. And so we sent out for we knew what we wanted it to look like, but you know, this goes down to a principle. If you're going to do something great. And do one thing great. So it started with, okay, this is what we want our name to be. This is what we want our logo to be. And then this is the look and feel of the bags that we're looking for. And so one of the agencies that came back had made some suggestions. And the biggest thing about being an entrepreneur is learning how to listen to suggestions. To be honest, the bagging isn't the way we were going to go, but it wasn't a bad thing. So it's one of those things where you're looking at it and you're like, that's not exactly where I was going to go with it, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. So don't let perfect be, don't let perfect be the enemy of progress. So it was equally good to what we were going to do. So it was something we could do.
Yeah.
Okay. I think there were like 3 mic drop moments in there, right? Did you catch? Like, I don't know. Did you guys catch them all? So let's unpack a couple things. All right. So done is better than perfect, right? Don't let perfect hit progress. How often do you guys see like clients that you're working with? I'll start with you. Like, do you run into that, or like, any advice when you feel people are getting caught up on something?
Oh, wow. Advice on when they get, I mean, I think, is this going in the right direction? You know, you can always pivot. You can always iterate onto the next version and that sort of thing. But we actually do see that a lot. We see a lot of folks who start out with one package and it is right for the moment. And then as they grow, okay, well now I can't be slapping a label on every one of these. I need to go to a different kind of thing. So we do see that where I think a lot of our manufacturers do understand that you need to kind of make that progress. Every once in a while, we find somebody who gets hung up and try and remind them. You can change later. You're not stuck here. You know, it's best to be set up right when you start. But for some of it's just too big a bite to take right now. So take the bite you can take, and then iterate. Right.
And that's one of Damon's superpowers. Don't sweat the small stuff. Right?
Yeah. No, I love what you're saying, Kevin, because you got to go. I mean, this is like, I don't care if I don't have the perfect jacket. It's time to go outside, right? and you just got to go sometimes, and that's cool. That's cool.
Right.
You just said, and,
Right.
and listen to somebody else too.
Yeah, and that's the advantage of working with fellow veterans is we're not always given all the tools that we need.
Yep.
But we're given the tools that we have, and we have to complete a mission. One of the reasons in backing up a minute, like when I looked at this company, one of the things, and I'm adamant about this in the way that I look at entrepreneurship and starting businesses, is benchmark off of somebody else. So find somebody who's doing something similar, look at what worked, look what didn't work, even make yourself a chart, and then say, okay, how does this apply to us? So my benchmark is Black Rifle Coffee Company.
Ooh, good one.
I looked at what Evan did and what Matt and Evan and all of them did over there. They did an awesome job. They've got a cool company.
Yep.
But I don't want to replicate what they did, but I want to use some of the things they did. So that's why we have a subscription network on our website. That's why we went after some social media stuff and but what I saw is I could shift fire and change a position, and we went more to the B2B. So we started going after businesses right away, because right now social media has kind of played itself out in a lot of different sectors. And so it's a harder space to get into. It's a more expensive space to get into. It was the right space for when Evan and Matt and those guys were doing it, because it was mass exposure for little amounts of money. Right now, I mean, Facebook, you're going to pay on average $4 a click. So that for a young company, that's not necessarily a good avenue. But LinkedIn and some of these other cursories, yeah, we could get through there, and we could do really well through there. There's another platform called RangeMe. You have to pay for it, but it's also a good platform that gives you an opening into buyers. So we were able to benchmark off of an existing company and see what they were doing that we wanted to do. Obviously, we're a little more family friendly than they are. They're a little more, veteran jokes, which they're hilarious. But we, being the dog market and more in the household with, picket fence and golden retrievers, we needed to skew a little more the other direction. But yeah, I'll tell you this: entrepreneurship has an image problem right now. It's the guys on social media driving fast cars and living in big houses. That's the hopeful potential end of entrepreneurship. The beginning of entrepreneurship is standing in the rain when everybody's told you you're an idiot, and having the self-awareness and the self-courage to continue to go.
Kevin, could you please explain to the folks, what is your definition of entrepreneurship? Hands down, the best definition I've ever heard. Yes. Can you please enlighten everybody of yours?
Well, I get in trouble all the time. Entrepreneurship is a knife fight in a ditch.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Entrepreneurship is a knife fight in a ditch.
Entrepreneurship is a knife fight in a ditch. Dude, when you told me that, I found the floor the other day when you told me that. That is one of the fun. So, all right, well, first off, man, we've got some awesome people. Hey, guys, thank you for joining us today. We've got Samuel here today. We've got Val dropped a great line here about best origin story. Her cats are jealous. Yeah. We've got hello from Lebanon today. So, guys, drop Kevin a note. We've got hello here from Kenya. So, guys, Kevin Thompson from Mountain Dog, and Army veteran, war hero, and just a resilient entrepreneur. Kevin, as you got this party started, when you started your knife fight in the ditch, what were any expectations that you have that have been that exceeded your expectations, or other things that maybe that you didn't see coming? Like, there's two questions in there. Were there things that you that exceeded your expectations, and on the flip side, were there things that you didn't realize as an entrepreneur what you were getting into?
So, things that we didn't realize, just the complexities of doing manufacturing in Alaska, and trying in new banking environments where you're trying to raise money. You're nobody. You're trying to raise money. We've here in Alaska, people don't realize that Alaska only has about 750,000 people. So we're the size of a small to medium sized town anywhere in the rest of the United States, and we're half the size of the United States. So, and then if you delineate it down further to Anchorage and the valley where we live, you're only talking maybe 350,000 people. So we're a small town, and I'm running around a small town trying to create a business that's a nationwide business. So that offers some complexity, but given that, you hear all these cliches in business, but there is some truth to it. Is where a problem is, there's also an opportunity. And so things that we didn't see coming was the difficulty in financing the operation, the difficulty in putting everything together. Honestly, the difficulty of dealing with partners when they come and when they go. I can't stress this enough to anybody out there starting a business. Partnerships are like marriages. The only difference and some people do it in marriage too, but the only difference is have a good contract, have a lawyer. The cheapest document you will ever write is your operating agreement.
Yep.
And so, you're going along, you're trying to do your best. You don't know what you don't know. And part of being an entrepreneur, and the reason I say it's a knife fight in a ditch, is because you just have to stay on your feet and you have to keep fighting no matter what happens. And there's times where you come home and you're just like, man, I lost big today, but tomorrow I'm going to win.
I love that. So again, hey, we got some great comments. What's Nicole saying? So, entrepreneurship is a knife fight in a ditch. What she come back and say here? Knife fight, dance into the weekend. So that's absolutely awesome. Hey, we got John Baglino from New Jersey in the house. John, man, connect with Kevin on LinkedIn. And so we're having a great chat, guys. Drop us a note. Let us know that you're out there. So entrepreneurship, new to you, again, Army veteran, and entrepreneurship was not really on your radar per se. We were talking right before you popped in. We were talking about how, folks like the Alaska MEP, there's just so many resources for entrepreneurs out there that they just don't fully realize. Guys, some lifelong entrepreneur, you didn't realize there's, that the MEP network, we talk about it constantly. How important has it been to you of it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a really strong village to raise a business. How important has it been to you for resources, your network, our dream supporting friends here at the Alaska MEP? Just talk about how friends, family, what's it look like to get this thing off the ground for you?
So, first of all, the most important thing you can learn as an entrepreneur is not to point your finger at yourself, point your finger around. So I didn't build this company. My wife supported me. My friends stood next to me. They worked when I couldn't pay anybody else. People like Alyssa Rodriguez, who we love to death. She came in a ball of energy and just said, "Hey guys, let's start working." And, so there's but we have my COO who handles all my operations. He's here today. But he's a retired Marine gunnery sergeant, and he just knows one speed, and that's full speed ahead. And so when we get after things, we just get after them. And so the thing is there's a lot of resources between SBA, MEP, all these different resources. There's a great program called Warrior Rising that you can link up, that other veterans can link up through. They have a CEO accelerator course. You sit there, and for 2 hours every week, you hear from other veterans who have made it in entrepreneurship, CEOs and those, and you can go through those things. So it's networking within the resources that are out there. MEP is a wealth of information when it comes to, I mean, there's times where I call Melissa and I'm like, hey, does this fit in your box? Like, does this, do I give this information to you, or I have a proposal for something cool? Does that make, Melissa's like, that's awesome. Here, give it to these people. I'm like, oh, thank you. So like, that's the thing is developing open lines of communication with all these agencies and finding those people that, and I don't see Sammy in the room, but Sammy's the other person with, and Sammy's a ball of energy. She is just so excited to work with entrepreneurs. She's awesome.
Yeah. Well, we certainly agree. And we were, as a matter of fact, Damon and I had dinner with Sammy Joe last night in Palmer. What a breathtaking community Palmer is, where I believe you're at. And so kudos to you. We didn't want to leave, but it's absolutely stunning. But I want to dig into like the resources. And Kevin, I think you're hitting on the head. And when you and I spoke, you made a really profound point. And I'm going to tell you, I was right there with you, brother. You know, whenever you heard something government related, I hate to admit it, you know, you have like skepticism. I'm an entrepreneur. I don't need help. Man, anybody listening that's an entrepreneur, I couldn't encourage you, invite you, welcome you to dispel that myth and reach out. You mentioned the SBDC. SBDC here is right down the hall here from the MEP. If you're just joining us, I just want to do quick introductions for friends that are joining us. Again, drop us a note, let us know that you're here. But we have Dr. Alyssa Rodriguez. We're here at the Alaska MEP in Anchorage. We've got Kasim Karani, man, I was like, I've been practicing all week and I was hoping to get that right. So lifetime entrepreneur who just joined the Alaska MEP team and just brings a wealth of experience. And I think you guys know that guy over there. So how about Gail drops a note right here. So I got it. Whoa, Kurt and Damon in the same room. Wow.
You know,
wow.
Kevin, honestly, you're this, you don't know this, but this is, I think this is the first damn time we've been in the same room doing this, isn't it?
Well, Monday. Well, this week. this
Friday one,
for Friday. So, Kevin, just so you know, like I'm not sure. We're on like episode 200 and something. Yeah. And so this week, thanks to our dear friend Dr. Alyssa Rodriguez, Damon and I have been in Alaska all week. We've been doing lives all week. We've been doing e-commerce workshops, and it's just been such a gift, a blessing. I'll probably get choked up even talking about like how much we appreciate you, Kasim, and just, you know, you took us to your networking meeting this week. We got to go out to dinner with their spouses this week. So I'll tell you guys, you know, COVID really changed. You know, you kind of took these things for granted during COVID. You know, it was just like, oh, what, I did this to that. But now, like I'm 54. I have like a whole new profound appreciation for like doing this. And here we are. I don't know how many thousands of miles away I am from home, but to do all this stuff in person, and you know, what a gift to like spend the week with you. And we've been doing live. So we've been doing these virtually for, you know, 3 years now, 200 episodes. And we finally got to do these in person. So,
but I tell you what, Kevin, when we're back here next time, we got to go hang out.
I
know it's going to be good.
All week I was telling Kevin, I was telling Damon, I'm like, man, wait till you meet Kevin on Friday. So I know we're coming into time. I don't want to keep everybody. Kevin, just any words of, man, I want to recap a couple of things. You know, listen, get resources, get the support system in place. Where is your company, your dream, your goal, what are your aspirations? Just share, like, where's Mountain Dog going this year?
So this year, Mountain Dog is expanding into the Northwest. So we're making moves to be in Montana, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, and potentially Utah. We're managing controlled growth. That is I can't state that enough. Is know when to say no. So managing controlled growth and pushing on through there. So we're hoping to see a fairly large growth this year. We're buying new machines. We have new machines coming in that increases our capacity. So overall, yeah, we're on a good trajectory. We've got growth, and we've got the right team in place. And that's, I can't stress that enough, is the right team. Making sure that we have the right guy in operations, the right guy in finance, the right guy in business development, all of those things to make sure that we have the cohesive team that's moving forward in one movement. Yeah.
And I tell you what, Kevin, you're ever down in the Washington area, I'm in Seattle, north of Seattle. We got to get together.
Yeah. So
I'm texting you after this,
Kevin.
I want to see you.
Hey, Kevin, do you ever go to dinner at the Noisy Goose by any chance in Palmer? Have you ever eaten dinner at the Noisy Goose?
So we usually get breakfast there.
Yeah.
So we're running out. We're usually running all different directions in the morning. So Noisy Goose is a favorite.
So Nicole, if you're still out there, so so Kevin, on the show we have we do a lot of dude, you've had tons of mic drop moments. Look at this comment here. Kevin, man, the number of one-liners you just dropped are the careers hanging over Lester. So this is just awesome. A lot of awesomeness that you just dropped. So what we like to say is when somebody just drops just a golden nugget, it's remember when you go to grandma's for Sunday dinner, just nobody made dinner better than grandma. You just kind of savor whatever she made. Well, man, the Noisy Goose is a restaurant in Palmer, Alaska. If you ever have a chance, and it's like going to grandma's on Sunday dinner, is it not?
Oh my goodness,
it was so good. Dude, your comments, it was hanging out at the Noisy Goose. Man. It was just savoring, just a good home cooked meal at the Noisy Goose in Palmer, Alaska. So let's do this. Kasim, any parting thoughts, words of wisdom that you have, or just any takeaways from Kevin here?
Well, I enjoyed when I got to go out and tour his facility, the setup that they have, their mentality for growth was fantastic. And I will tell you, so my wife is in nutrition. Her family bred and raised police dogs for years.
Yeah.
And it has been impossible to get her to find something. Kevin gave us a sample of his treats. We're now lifelong customers of his because it was just amazing. The fact that she's going off telling everybody about it. So there's an extent to which the treat, the product done right for the right reasons, the way Kevin has approached it, almost sells itself.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes there, but it's a ton of fun to be able to be a part of and right there along.
So Kevin, I don't know if you picked up on that. So what else? Not only are you providing awesome dog treats, you're providing marriage counseling, because happy wife is happy life, right? So you're really bringing it home. And for the record, I can affirm that because we were at the dinner with Kasim and his wife Tiffany, and she shared that she is a customer for life. She loves your product. And she's a dog fanatic, and we really bonded over that. So thank you. Any other comments from the tour or anything else that you want to share for Kevin?
Oh, no, I think that he's got, he was out in front of me on just about everything. I'd start bringing up something and he'd just take it to the next step.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see somebody who's done his research, continuously doing his homework. And, we had a conversation about that. Don't let perfection get in the way of progress.
Yeah.
We were talking about what was the line? The small daily progress leads to staggering long-term results. We had a long conversation about that. And so I just love the mentality that they're working with.
Awesome. What an inspiration. And you know what? And I hate to say it, I have a little jealousy right now. I've been a lifelong entrepreneur. I wish I had half of the wisdom that you have, and you've been going at it for 8 months. So man, I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I need to change my career. But Dr. Alyssa, any comments, parting thoughts, words of wisdom for our show here?
Yeah, I mean, Kevin's just been so fantastic to work with, and he and I were having a conversation the other day, and I think that he is the most data-driven manufacturer that I've had the pleasure of working with thus far. And we were kind of talking about how not only that, but in being a veteran, the comfort with process and regulations and that sort of thing, and just how important that's been in terms of being able to keep making progress. You're not intimidated by needing to kind of overcome this hurdle and that sort of thing. You know that you can do it. You're just going to find your way through it with whatever tools you've got. But man, being a data lover at heart, and someone with numerous math-driven tattoos, a lover of data.
It's right there, right? She's got it right there.
And to be so aware of where you are and where you're going, and have that be so data-driven, I think is just It is, and you really, it's all part of, I think, what's going to just drive Mountain Dog to being a nationwide, well-known brand. So,
and just, dude, look at who you're inspiring. Where, you know, up here in Alaska, you know, we've heard this week, there's a lot of challenges, you know, I hate to say disadvantages, but there are logistical challenges being in the great state of Alaska, and you're just defying those odds. So, boy, if anybody out there, everybody out there that's been sitting there, how Nicole says, your resiliency is amazing. Let's create this. You know, we've got great show. How about thumbs up for Kevin? Dude, you're getting all sorts of love here in the chat box. So again, guys, connect with Kevin on LinkedIn. Do yourself a favor. For your favorite furry friend in your life, stop by his website, make that purchase. Remember, happy life, happy wife. Is that how that goes?
Yeah.
So, go that route. If you guys have been sitting down for the past however many minutes we were going at it, it's a great time. If you guys want to stand up and stretch, and how about give a huge standing ovation for Kevin Thompson from Mountain Dog, fearless entrepreneur. And Damon, any takeaways? What your thoughts here?
You know, I just want to, first of all, thanks for being here today, Kevin. Man, if we should have stopped by his place yesterday. We should have figured out how to make it happen.
We should have come to him. Right?
Yeah, no doubt. But thanks for being here today. And I also want to thank the Alaska MEP for you guys hosting us this week.
Right.
It has been an incredible experience to be able to go out and see the entrepreneurs and just think about the manufacturing and see the manufacturing going on in Alaska.
Right.
So many cool things up here, and you guys are making it happen and helping entrepreneurs like Kevin, you know, get the pieces in place, do the things happen, and you know, it's incredible. Thank you so much.
Right. Absolutely. And I echo it. So, hey, I got to give her a big hug on screen. So this has been, and guys, you know, for those of us on LinkedIn, like, and I don't know if you ever tired of me saying it, this relationship, all of you guys out there is because of LinkedIn. So tell friends, family, boy, you want to be, you know, I wouldn't be here in Alaska if it weren't for this wonderful, beautiful woman right here. And so, okay, Kevin, parting thoughts, words of wisdom, my friend.
So, on our way back from a show in Fairbanks this last weekend, there's a place in Alaska called the North Pole. And at the North Pole, there is Santa Claus's house. And of course, my kids said, "Hey, Dad, we want to go give Santa some dog treats." Oh. They were thrilled to death when Santa called the company and gave his report that his dog Otis loves our salmon treats.
Oh.
So just a thank you to the Santa Claus house in North Pole for making my kids' day. Check us out. We're a bunch of crazy veterans. I tell everybody, you know, we hire veterans because we all speak a different language. Yeah. It's a village. It's a dysfunctional village, but it's our village.
Yeah.
So check us out. We're in a bunch of major retailers in Alaska and Hawaii. We're in Fred Meyer's. We're at local shops all around Alaska. And if you ever have any questions, jump on the website, shoot us an email, give us a call, and we'll be great.
So, dude, I'll put this comment on this.
We got, thanks for this event, and Val just dropped the mic for us. Santa approved. Now that's a testimonial right there. So absolutely,
I have a picture.
We're getting more prayers, and so
after
Santa
mm-hmm.
approved, dude. Get that right on the packaging. So Kevin, thank you, my friend. We wish you just massive success. We know that you are super, super busy. Appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us on our show. Thank you for, what you're doing with the Alaska MEP and inspiring other, can be, should be, will be entrepreneurs around the great state of Alaska. So guys, we're going to wind down, and boy, what a great show, man. What a great week. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Kevin.
Everybody out there. So we'll catch you, Damon, man. It's going to be kind of a letdown. I'm back in my basement next week, hanging out in my pajamas. So, okay. All right, guys. Guys, God bless everybody. Kevin, hang out with us for 1 second. Take it away, dude.
All right. Well, and then I'm going to drop the microphone here. Thanks, everyone, for being here today. Thanks so much, Kevin from Mountain Dog. Wow. Love it when I see veterans doing what they do. And just love it that we get the people back every week. Those people that are dropping comments, thank you for that. The people that are listening, riding their car, doing whatever the other things you got to do. But just thanks so much for being here. And I'll say it once again, thanks so much to the awesome people at the Alaska MEP and Mr. Kurt Anderson. Great day, great week. I just
speechless.
See you later.
See you guys.
Have a great
weekend. See ya.